Hello, everyone. Welcome back once again. I am Nicodemus Kane. Today is September the 16th of 2022. Um, I have been getting this either 916 or 619 coding. I've been seeing it every now and then. I'm not going to say that it's the biggest number in the world. I'm just going to say that I've been seeing it, so you never know. It's like the 923. You should always be wary of September 23rd. You should always be wary of March the 29th. It is what it is, because those are the numbers that you constantly see in the background over and over and over again. And that's what I always say. It doesn't mean that anything will happen, and it doesn't mean that these numbers are cursed for the rest of our lives. It's that we didn't know that they were coding this numerology into our mindset until 9/11 happened. And then we started seeing it everywhere. That was when we started really understanding what predictive programming was. And now you can look everywhere and you can just see numbers all over the place, everywhere. And there are numbers that have not really surfaced yet, like the 11.3, the 311. The 311 popped up in 2020. 311 popped. It was something that you can point at that and say that's a thing. 11.3, there are still people out there that are saying that something may happen November the 3rd, so you should always be careful. But it's like the 501. The 501 is a May Day. Nothing. I'm sure that something big has happened on 5/1 on May the 1st, somewhere along the line. But it's a number. It's a number that we see all the time. 10:05. 10:05, 105, 501. Those are numbers that we should just be wary of. Again, the 9/11 we've seen popped up. I've seen it reversed, inversed, whatever you want to call it. 119 or 11.9. I mean, heck, man, with the 11.3 and the 11.9, you've got interesting things happening. The numbers mean nothing to us, the little people. I've heard it before several times. They're just numbers. They don't mean anything. Whatever. They may not mean anything to you, but they mean something to them. The people in charge, the people that are doing these things to you. But I have seen this 916 or this 619 or something to that effect. I have seen it over and over again. At least for me, in my realm of reality, I have seen this 619, 916. So just be wary today. Just keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open, keep your eyes peeled. I'm not going to say anything's going to happen. I'm just putting a warning out there. You never know. I would definitely worry about 923. You've got, I don't know. I haven't seen the full video. I haven't seen what the context was. Some guy it was in the UN. Was it in the UN? I don't know when it was or where it was. Because I just never paid that much attention to it. Because I am always wary of 923. But there's a guy that's I think he's either in the UN or he's in the World Economic Forum. I don't know where he is. He's like, well, September 24th will be the day that we will all stop and ask, where were we? So what was the context? You see it on Twitter, and all they do is just show the little clip of him just saying that. What's the rest of it? What's the context? What was his speech about? Was he talking about some kind of, change in some kind of system? And if it is some kind of change in the system, why is it falling right behind the 923? As if something's going to happen. And then, of course, not only that, I heard something about the Pope is calling in all of the Vatican's markers, the money and how else does he want to put it? He's calling in all of the money, pretty much. He's calling in all of the debts, I guess. He's calling everything back to the Vatican on September the 30th, which is not entirely strange, but at the same time weird. They've been working on this digital currency thing for a while, and it would not be out of the realm of possibility for them to just up and say, well, we're going to call in all the money and you're going to be working with this now. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. What was it? Was it Britain back in the 1800s? Maybe even earlier than that. I don't know when it was, but they called in all the gold, like they went house to house, calling in all the gold whenever they went to cash. Something along those lines. Was it earlier than that? I don't remember the date. I just remember hearing about it. And, how in the hell do you let people get away with that? You know? I know how you get away with it. You ban guns. That's how you get away with it. You take away the people's right to be able to defend themselves. But it was, they went from being able to trade gold over to cash, if I remember correctly, or some other form of payment, and they went door to door collecting gold. I mean, they were, from what I understood, they were breaking down people's doors to get all the gold together. And then they were handing out cash. And then that's how the Royal Crown sucked up all the gold in the UK. Just going by what I heard. Again, I haven't researched that stuff, so I have no idea. It's not out of the scope of possibility that, somebody could say, oh, we're coming around to collect all the cash because everything's digital now. Don't ever let them take your cash away. Don't ever let them take your ability to be able to buy and sell away. And I know that the Bible says that everyone, great and small, young and old, rich and poor, will receive a mark in their hand or in their forehead that will cause them not to be able to buy or sell. At the same time, it also says there will be those that are left that will be taken up. Those that survive it, that did not receive the mark. So there will be a resistance. That goes for a lot of people that I know. There's at least 2 or 3 people that I have heard over and over again say that you're going to take it whether you like it or not. And it's not the worst thing in the world, you have to take the mark and you have to worship at the feet of the beast. You have to worship at his name. You have to worship at the whatever and all this stuff. So it's not going to hurt you to take the mark. It's not going to hurt. I've heard this. I've actually heard this. So you're going to have to provide for your family in some way, shape, or form. So, you can take it, but just don't worship at the feet of the beast. It's like, wait. Have you not finished the book of Revelations where it says that there will be people that resist this? There will be people that resist this. And those are the ones, if they survive through to the end, those that did not take the mark. You can read this in Revelations. I don't remember exactly where it is. If I remember exactly where it was, I would read it for you. But there will be those that will fight against it, that will not take it, that will put their trust in God. that will not put their trust in man or a mark, or put their trust in anything that causes them to buy or sell. And not only that, it's not the end of the world, because there's still barter and trade. Now, I get it, barter and trade is not it's not a viable means of existence, but and I know that there are people that are saying, well, this has become a society where you can't do anything unless you buy or sell stuff. I get that too. But that doesn't mean you can't grow your own food. That does not mean that you can't survive in ways other than living and working a job and buying and selling. That means that, yes, it is entirely possible for people to be able to exist in the world without the mark, to be able to buy and sell. So there's people that resist this. There's people that did not take the mark. How does that work? I'm just pointing that out there. I'm just putting that out there, saying that there is a resistance. That especially goes for all those people that say that they are supposed to just roll over and listen to everything the government says. Well, the government says that we have to take this, so we'll just, God tells us that the government is doing everything for our benefit. I've heard that too. Oh, I've heard that too. Ooh. Like, no, the government doesn't do everything for your benefit. And as far as I can tell, even though God says that he sends these people to do things to you because you choose not to follow his law, not to live righteously, not to follow his word, that he lets them do all of their evil schemes to you because you chose not to listen. You can always have the power to fight back with the Spirit, with the Word of God, but you choose not to. You have been manipulated into following one verse in the Bible where it says to be obedient to your leaders, to your masters. It's the only place I've seen it. I've seen it in other places where it says that God weakens men and allows men to run over them. He allows men to come and take his people away. He allows men to come in and hurt people because they chose not to listen to God. But there is only one place where it says, do what they tell you to do. At least as far as I know. If there's another place, please let me know. Absolutely, please let me know. And it's one of those kinds of things, and I'm not saying that there's a book of the Bible that shouldn't be in there. And I'm not saying that, maybe we've been wrong all this time, even though that the convenience of there being 66 books, and that we know that they've pulled books out of the Bible, that there's only really only one book in the Bible where we really truly pull, where Christianity really pulls like 70 to 80% of its doctrine, and that's Romans. That's Romans, the one that Paul supposedly wrote. Now, I'm not saying it's fake. I'm just saying that it's an entire religion based upon one book in the Bible. About 80%. 80% of everything that Christianity is pulled out of Romans. So, and of course it's mostly going against everything that came before it. Now, I'm not, again, you have to do that research for yourself. I just know that whenever I hear it, when I hear it, and whenever I hear how separated it is from everything that you've been told before that the fact that it just happens to be Romans, that it happens to come at a time, I don't know how old it is. I don't know when they found the first copy of it. But it came after Constantine created the what do I call it? He turned himself over to Christianity when a lot of people, and myself included, say that the Romans decided to take over Christianity because they couldn't fight it anymore. So they took it over and they tried to make it something that it's not in order to be able to destroy it from within. A lot of people don't, they don't like to agree with that, but at the same time, they're called Protestants for a reason, because they're protesting against the Catholic Church. Because the Catholic Church has made a mockery of what the Bible actually is. That's why they call it the Roman Catholic Church. It was created by the Romans. The Romans couldn't fight Christianity. People were turning too much, too fast. What do you do to your enemy if you cannot destroy them all at once? You change them from the inside. That's what you do. So, wouldn't that just be the case that they would either change the meaning of a book written by one of their own? I've heard several different arguments about Paul, if he was really truly somebody that could have been trusted, even though Peter says that, they gave him, or they told their people that it was okay to listen to him. But Peter actually also said there are things that Paul says that sound, I don't want to say sound wrong, but there are things that Paul says that are strange to some people's ears, that we need to read heavily into what he's saying. That within itself is another one of those, why would you take it on the surface? You have Peter, the rock of the church, telling you that you need to really understand what Paul is saying. Then I've heard people say that, it was very easy. It would have been very easy for somebody to, if Paul actually wrote those letters to the churches, it would have been very easy at the time for them to just take those out and either create something new or just change little things. Just kind of, scribble little things in the sidelines. I don't know exactly how it works. I just know that listening to our leaders goes against what God tells us. And I have said it before, and I will say it again, that doing what is right in God's eyes is not the same as doing what man says is right. Because what man says is right may not be what God says is right. You are allowed to not do something that goes against God's commands. So we come back to the argument about the mark of the beast. And people saying, oh, it's God's will, just take it. If it's God's will that you take it, then you're going to take it. It just is what it is. But the book of Revelations also talks about those that do not take it. And I still think it's a physical thing. Some people say that it's a spiritual thing. Okay, it's a spiritual thing. How does a spiritual thing keep you from buying and selling? I don't understand that. But a physical thing, we now have the ability to see it. A physical thing can now cause you to not be able to buy and sell. It's out there. I can't even mention it because every time I mention what will cause you to not be able to buy and sell, and then if I say the mark of the beast right beside it, my video gets pulled. Sure enough, my video got pulled because of that. You can't even talk about it. It's insane. So, and it's definitely not Sunday worship. I've heard that one before. It's like, what, you can't go buy and sell on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? It has to be on Sunday? Really? It's just, you know what, man? The Seventh Day Adventists or whatever they're called. I can't think of the words. The Seventh Day people, though, man, they're doing whatever they're doing. But every time they say that, I have to chuckle. I'm sorry, I have to chuckle because it's just Sunday worship is the mark of the beast. Really? It's because you're gonna do everything you do, all your buying and selling on Saturdays. Come on now. Come on, man. Come on. What about the people that only work 4-day work weeks? Do they like take the Friday off? Let's just say that they work Monday through Thursday. Do they take the Friday off just so that they could go buy and sell on Saturday and then take another day off on Sunday? Is that what they do? What about the guys on the rotating shifts? There's so many questions there. That's what the Catholic Church is going to do. They're going to cause everybody to only buy and sell on one day of the week. I don't know how that's going to work. Every 7-Eleven in the world will stop being 24 hours. It will only be open from the business hours of 8 in the morning to 5 o'clock at night. So you can't buy or sell anything unless you're at work. It's only open on Saturdays. Sorry, I need to stop. I still just think it's funny though. And so what do you? The other side of that, the other aspect of that is, do you only get your money if you go to church on Sunday? So what about all the people that don't worship God? I mean, yeah, sure. The Satanists, they're going to get their money because they're Satanists, so they're not going to care, whatever. But what about like the Buddhists? What about like I don't know. There are people that still worship the Greek gods, which is weird. It's weird, but there's people out there still, What about the Neo-Druids? Yeah, that's a thing, Neo-Druids. What about those people? Are they going to only worship on Sunday so that they can take the mark of the beast? Or how does it work? How does it work exactly? Just saying, how does it work? Because they have to worship. They have to worship at the name. Or worship at the name, worship at the number, worship at the whatever. They have to take the mark and they have to worship. And worship is not just worship. It's not like falling down on your knees and praying to some pagan god. It's not even just that. It's the act of submitting. You're submitting over to this new way of doing things. You're submitting yourself to giving over all of your freedoms to taking this mark is what it is. It's submission. It's not even worship, it's just submission. It's like the difference between fear and reverence. We've talked about this. There's what was it? I'm reading a book. I'm reading a book right now where they're talking about, I'm not going to go too much into detail of the book I'm reading, but they're talking about having the love and fear of God. But the way that they say it, it's like you constantly have the fear of God. Be afraid of God. Ooh, be afraid of God. It's in the Bible like that too. Is to have the fear of God, the fear of, his power, the fear of his will. And we look that up. It's not fear. It's reverence. It's obedience. It's understanding. But it's, it's the will to want to follow God. It's not fearing God. It's not like, oh, he's the big, bad, terrible God of the universe. He's going to kill everything. It's not that. It's reverence of God. It's the reverence of his law, his word, what he can do for you. So, but it says fear in this book, and I'm just like, ugh. Come on now. You have to constantly hold on to the fear. You have to hold on to the reverence of God. That's what you need to do, not fear. It's crazy. But it's like that though. It's you have to understand what the words mean. That's why we open up the Strongs. If there's something that doesn't make sense, I look at it. I try to figure it out. I try to find the different meanings. Because from the way I understand it, the way that they translated the book, they didn't understand what every word meant. It's like you couldn't find one Hebrew scholar to help you understand it whatsoever. Probably not, because I'm sure at the time Jewish scholars probably weren't trying to help Christians. You couldn't find one that was like a convert to Christianity. Anyways, maybe not. Who knows? Because there's a lot of them out there right now that are still, they think that Christ is the ultimate false prophet, the false Messiah. And I can believe that. I can understand that. But you can't tell me that there wasn't one person at the time that was like, well, I know a pretty good amount of this, I don't know. Maybe not. But the way I understand it, they translated it as best they could. And that's why they made the Strong's Concordance. Because each word, especially the Old Testament stuff, each word had the ability of meaning several different things. Especially if you're talking about the old Hebrew stuff. I mean, even then, it's like each letter means an entirely different thing to each other. You can, what's the guy's name that takes the first letters, or takes, it's something like he takes the first letters of each chapter or something. I don't remember exactly what it is. Or takes the first letters of each something from the Torah, from the first 5 books of the Bible, and it spells out something. If you take the meanings of the letters themselves, or something like that, like the Bible, this is where the Bible code comes from. It's because it's not only being able to decipher the names of the first 12 men in the bloodline of Christ. And you can take those and translate those into something. But it's taking you can take like the first, what was the one I remember? You can take the first 4 words in the beginning, God or something like that, and each one of those you can take the spellings and translate them, and they say something. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was something crazy, and then there was something else like what was it? Take every such and such letter forwards and backwards in the Torah, and they all point to one word right in the middle or something. I can't remember what it is. It's been a while since I've listened to that stuff. But it's like super heavy gematria stuff. It's super heavy. It's taking the meanings of the letters themselves, not even the words, the letters themselves, and opening those up and finding meaning in them. And it's incredible stuff. I've watched several Hebrew letter classes, just starting from the beginning and just going through and finding the meanings and what each pictograph was that the letters were based off of, why they were a certain way, and then understanding how they work together. And this whole concept of certain letters meaning certain things, certain other letters meaning certain things. I mean, I've been talking for 32 minutes. I don't think we're getting into a Bible reading today, guys. I think this is just going to be a video of me talking. Well, that's fine. We can talk about that. That's cool. Hey, man, you get on these paths and you just got to follow it, right? But it's the meanings of the letters themselves. You put them together, and then they mean something completely different than what the word is. And even putting 2 words together in the Hebrew language makes each word different, makes each word mean something different. And it's like this, how do you want to call it? It's like this, it's God's language. Is that the best way I can describe it? It's God's language in a way that makes sense. That there's all of this encoding in the middle of it, that no man could have ever formed that naturally. Like that I heard somebody said at one point in time, whenever, especially when they're talking about like the Bible codes and stuff, that no man could have naturally come up with it, that it would have taken a team of men 50 years in order to be able to come up with some kind of a system to make all of this work the way that it does in the Bible. That's how amazing everything is. And it's the letters, it's the words, it's how it all works together. The pictographs of the words, what those mean. taking one word and then separating out the letters, and then finding out what the pictographs, the ancient pictographs, what they meant, and being able to create whole new words from it. Let me see if I can find. Hebrew to English. See if we can. No, let's do. Where are we at? Show more. I'll try to see if I can show you guys something, because I found something cool out the other day. It was very, very interesting, and I don't know how much of this is true. Okay, there's that. It's going to take me a second to do this. You're going to have to give me a second, guys, because I'm trying to put all this together. Because you have to look at this. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. Okay, there's that. And one more. But it was something I found about the way we look at words. The way that the Hebrews looked at words, and the way that these all make sense. And I'm hoping I can find this. And I think I did. I think I found it. So I'm looking here and make sure this is what it is. Because it's extremely fascinating stuff. I'll tell you that much right now. Extremely, extremely fascinating stuff. And this is one of those examples of how it's one of those examples of how amazing the Hebrew language is when it's written out, how it works. Okay. So we're going to do this. We're going to pull it in, and I am not the best at this. Some people may have already heard this, some people may not have heard this. But when you see it for yourself, it's pretty spectacular. It's pretty interestingly spectacular. So let me go ahead and do that. And I don't think I'm giving away any trade secrets or anything. So I don't need to copy that. Although I would love to make this bigger. But it's very small, I'm sure. So when you look up the word man or husband, right here, man, husband, in English, in Hebrew, it is this. And I don't have, let me see if I can find my, so it is Shin Yod Aleph, is that right? Shin Yod Aleph. It goes from, that's like it's Aleph Shin Yod, or Aleph Yod Shin, because it goes the opposite way, because Hebrew. But this is the spelling of husband, of a man. So when you do woman, it's this. What is it? Going backwards. Aleph Shin, and I think is it Mem or no? I think it's Hey. It's not a Tav. Anyways, it's this. So remember, it's like that, and that's woman, wife, spouse, so that you know. Okay. So in one of the terms for God is this. It's the Yod in the, I think it's a Shin. I should have written this stuff down. I should have written it's not a Shin. What am I talking about? Anyways, it's one of those. It's one of those. I'm not the best at this, but it's down here. It's in here. This is they say it's Yah is what it is. It's just another way of spelling it. So the thing about it is that whenever you put these together, I'm wondering if I can. When you put these together, the way that it works, right here. This is a good way of looking at it. So man, Shin Yod Aleph, it's like I said, and woman, Hey, there it is. Hey Shin Aleph. All right. So Yah, the Lord, Hey and Yod. So it is taking this and putting them together. That's what this is right here, God. So without the two letters that make up God, you have the Shin and the Aleph. The Shin and the Aleph by themselves make the word fire. That means that this is the same thing right here. Let's see if I can get in here. There's all kinds of stuff in here, I'm sure. You could probably come look it up for yourself. I'm just looking for the picture, guys. I'm just looking for the picture. But it's the same concept here. They have this. Do they have that backwards? They don't have that backwards, do they? No, they don't have that backwards. I'm just stupid. It's different, though. Same letters, though. Same letters, but a little bit different. But anyways, without the two letters that make up God, this word becomes fire. This, without the presence of God, is fire. It's evil. But a woman and a man, when they come together, especially, like I said, whenever you put them together as in wife and husband, they form together to create the words man and woman. Now you can look up man and woman and you may not get this. When you look up just man by itself, woman by itself, you may not get these. But you have to look up whenever they are husband and wife. There are better ways. There's a video out there somewhere that they talk about how this works. But this is something I learned, and it tracks along with the way that the Hebrew language worked, how beautiful it is, how amazing it is. Without those two letters, these two letters mean nothing. And these two letters are in both man and woman. It is only when you put God between them do they become husband and wife. It's a beautiful language. The first time I heard it, I cried. Because I said it's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely one of those beautiful, wonderful things that you don't know unless you really look for these things. Something I figured I'd share, though. Just something amazing that I figured that I would share. But this is it tracks along with, like I said, this is how the language worked. And again, you can see this. The pictograph here is a little bit better, even though it's tiny. But it's that same concept, There's the yod in the middle that gets taken away, and there's the hey in the middle that gets taken away, and then you put them together, it creates God. It's a pretty spectacular thing. It really, truly is. It's just one of those amazing things. There is a video, somebody that put it together. It's how I found it. I bet you I could probably find it if I just looked. Let me see. Let me make sure that's not playing so you're not hearing. I bet you I can find it. No, I don't want to get on TikTok. No, I don't want to get on TikTok. Oh, I just ruined it. Oh, man. I just ruined it. Let's see if I can find it again. Yeah, because I can't spell Hebrew. That's awesome. I'm looking. I'm trying to see if I can find this video because I know I found it somewhere and I just can't find it now. I think it was on BitChute. Really? Oh, wow, that's loud. That's like super loud. Let me pull that down a little bit. Alright, hopefully I don't get in trouble for doing this. But, we're going to try this and see. Because I want to show you. I really do. I want you guys to see this for yourselves. So, here we are. We're there. Alright.
Hey, let me show you something. This is the Hebrew word ish, which means man, husband. This is the Hebrew word isha, which means woman, wife. Now you can see that men and women are a lot alike, but that we are also distinctly different. But what's interesting is what makes us distinctly different. These two letters spell the word God in Hebrew, the short form. Because the Bible says that God made us in his image and likeness, and when he created us male and female. And in a marriage relationship between a man and a woman, there is no stronger bond than when God is present. But what if I told you that if you were to remove God from that relationship, these two letters spell a Hebrew word? which is fire. See, because in Hebrew, when something is doubled, it's the ultimate. And when we take God out of the marriage relationship, it is the ultimate destruction.
You got that? Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? I'm probably gonna get copyrighted just for the damn song that was playing in the background. But that's what that is. That's how amazing it is. And it broke my mind. It absolutely broke my mind whenever I saw it. I said, "You got to be kidding me with that. That's not even real." But it is. It's a thing. It's that's the beauty of it. And it's the more you learn about it, the deeper you get into it, the more you understand it, the more that it opens itself up to you, and the more that it's really, truly becomes amazing. So, there you go. I don't know what else to say other than that. I mean, that was, again, just one of those things, man. Just incredible. I had to write it. I wrote it down on a Post-it note in front of me so that I could have it at all times, because it was a message. It was a message from the Father, especially right as Angie and I got home from our trip out to Illinois. It was right as we had gotten home, and even though we were tired and beaten and worn out, we really felt closer together than we ever had before. And it was, I was trying to find some perfect expression of saying that. And that was when that message came to me. And that's the best way that you can describe it. Is we are nothing. She and I together are nothing without God. Because God has chosen to let us have this. That separated, and we have found this out many, many times over. When we try to do things on our own, when Angie and I both try to do things on our own, separate from each other, it never works. It never works. When one of us tries to go off and do something and we don't ask the other for help, it always winds up falling apart. And we have found only when we work together are we stronger, better than we were separated. And I can only thank God for bringing us together. However many years ago now. How long has it been? 27 years? 27 years ago, I met her in college. That first day of college, we happened to meet at a orientation for our dorm. Just happened to run into her, and we just became really good friends. And we didn't actually start dating until, man, what was that? 2012? So 17 years later? Is that right? 2012? Yeah, wow. But since I've been with her, my life has completely turned around, completely changed. And I have said, if it wasn't for her, I never would have been able to have the ability to start learning the truth of the world and been able to find the Father the way that I did and be able to go on this journey. And I absolutely believe with every single bit of my heart that he chose this for us. It had to be at that specific time, at that specific place, in order for us to be ready for each other, so that he could start changing my mind, changing my heart, changing my life at the time that he did, in order for me to understand why. And since then, it's been amazing. It's been absolutely amazing, incredible. And I can do nothing but thank him, because it's been a trip, man. It's been a trip and a half. But without him, we're nothing. We're meaningless. We were both on spiraling paths. We really were. But without that, we never would have been able to come together. I never would have been able to even remotely get this close to the Father, to read the Bible, to be changed by it, to have an understanding of the world that I have now, to see it with my own eyes, that I am nothing without him. I am definitely nothing without her. That it's all meaningless without God, especially now. So, I didn't get to read Isaiah, and that's fine. It's like I said, it happens. Sometimes you get on a kick of just talking about other stuff, and you got to follow it. If you don't follow it, what are you gonna do, right? There is a hidden language, hidden meaning behind everything in the Bible that is worth looking into, that is worth finding for yourself. And I do not doubt whatsoever that evil men, corrupt men, have used that for their advantage in order to trick us into believing a lie, especially when it comes to religion, especially when it comes to the Bible and faith. I don't want to say religion. I shouldn't say religion, even though so many people like the word religion, and it's like, that's religion and faith are two different things. But I absolutely believe that they would trick us into believing a lie, especially if it's a lie about following orders simply for following orders. I'm not going to say that Paul is a false prophet. I'm not going to say that what he did or didn't write isn't the true word that we need to hear. I am Still not 100% convinced that we should be following supposed letters from people. But then again, I understand why the letters are there. But it is absolutely entirely possible that the meanings of the words can be changed in order to manipulate people. That's why we have to do our absolute due diligence in reading, understanding, and following the word so that we can know the truth. Because there is a message out there, a higher message than we can ever understand. All we have to do is hunt it down and find it. And I will stop on the one phrase, the one verse that caught me when I first started all of this. The one that I still follow to this day is that it is the glory of God to hide a thing. It is the honor of kings to search a thing out. It is His will to hide these things. It is our honor, our duty to hunt these things out, to find the truth, to know the truth. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here and say thank you guys for coming around and listening. I'm sure that, and I know I've heard this before too, I'm sure that even saying anything against Paul's teachings is going to piss a lot of people off. I get that. I absolutely get that. I'm not teaching against Paul. I am asking the questions about the men that translated the Bible. If maybe in order to convince the flock, the sheep, to follow a certain way, maybe they might have changed some words around. You never know. This will be it for you to decide. It's going to be it for you to decide. I've already gone through it hundreds of times. It never says to go along, to get along, to save your life. It says whenever those troubles come, you resist to your death. It's actually what it says. And you won't die because God will protect you. They offer you food you're not supposed to eat, you don't eat it. God will provide. When they tell you to worship at the feet of a certain idol, you don't do it. You go, you worship God. And when you're called out for it, and you're thrown in the lion's den because of it, the lions will not hurt you. You pray to God. I can go further than that and start talking about flipping tables and the whole deal, but that's a whole nother topic. I love the people that like to go on about how nice and loving and caring and wonderful a man Christ was, yet they don't want to ever talk about flipping tables, cracking whips. They don't ever talk about that. I don't know why. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it all day. Because it was Christ cleaning out evil from his temple. If we're supposed to be more like Christ, then I want to clean out evil from the temple. I want to clean out evil off the streets. You know? Call out those false prophets that are doing nothing but hurting and destroying people. Call people hypocrites straight to their face. Hypocrites, liars, deceivers. I know you that call yourself certain things, but are of the synagogue of Satan. I know you. I see you. I mean, come on. God said a lot of good, or Christ said a lot of good words. He said a lot of good words. He said a lot of meaning and thoughtful, amazing things. But he chose to resist at every step of the way. Chose to resist. Not only that, but if you read it, he was, every time that they were coming down on top of him, he slipped away. He got away from them. He never once let them take him until it was time. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But he always taught us to not hurt people. to just listen and be good. And no, he never taught you that. He taught you to be good to your neighbor, to not give up your own will and faith. He taught you to love and do things in love and to be obedient to God. He didn't teach you just to roll over and play dead. So, I don't know. A lot of people disagree with that. A lot of people disagree with it because I think it takes the responsibility out of their hands. And I definitely get that. It takes that responsibility of actually having to suffer any kind of persecution whatsoever. Because they are too wrapped up in this world. They don't want to suffer persecution of opening their mouth and telling the truth because they don't want to lose the things they have on this world. Does that make sense? That makes perfect sense. All right. Anyways, I'm going now. I will talk to you all later. God bless every one of you. Take care of yourselves. Don't listen to me. Find it out for yourself. Read it for yourself. Find it for yourself. If there is a disagreement, please let me know. If you can ever prove me wrong and prove places where I need to go and look it up for myself, I will be more than happy to. I am just trying to find it myself. I'm not a teacher. I really am not a teacher. I am just here trying to figure this out. Just like everybody else. I just know that if we stand by and do nothing, of course they're just going to steamroll right over us. If you stand by and do nothing, evil is just going to steamroll right over you. This is your chance to stop it. All right. Take care of yourselves.